to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another edition here of the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It is your host, Carl. I am joined as ever by Henrik, Luke, and Nick. You three are all on mute, so I need to take you all off mute. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing this evening?
Oh, good. Good evening.
How was it going?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Has everyone enjoyed their weekend?
Very much.
All the better for a Patriots win, I suppose.
Absolutely. And we also have a birthday boy in the house, Nick, and happy birthday to you while we're at it.
Me? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Age is just a number, boys. Age is just a number.
That's true.
It sure is. It sure is. Okay, so week 2 has been and gone, and the New England Patriots finally have their first win of the season, 17-14 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not a pretty victory, to say the least, but it was a it was a much better performance from the offensive line standpoint, from our receiver standpoint as well. Defense just took off as they went off last week. We're absolutely suffocating Pittsburgh. Henrik, we'll start with you. What was your main bright spark that you saw from this game?
Well, first of all, it was a great weekend. The Patriots winning their first game. It was, as you say, not the prettiest, but victory is still a victory. And the victory against the Steelers is so awesome, especially this year. For this to be our first victory, I think it's great. The play of the game to me was Nelson Aguilar catching a pass from Mac Jones. That was a great catch by him. He deserves a lot of credit for that play. So I thought it was an awesome play. Not the smartest pass by Mac Jones, to be honest. I question his decision making last week. It worked out in this play. I think we needed 3 or 4 yards. We got a touchdown thanks to a great play by Nelson Aguilar. So I'm very happy. That play was a great play still. Like I said, I don't want to speak ill of it, but it was a great play. So I'm very happy about Nelson Aguilar. He proved himself.
Luke, you being the pessimistic member of this group, I hate to bring it up to you. What was your brightest moment for this game for the Patriots?
Yeah, I agree with Henrik on the Nelly point. You know, I think he had a great game. Even 6 catches, 110 yards, touchdown. Can't ask for more than that. Kind of really reflecting what he's been doing in camp. And I always say apparently because obviously we can't see it, but what's been reported in camp, he was outstanding in camp, and it looks like he's kind of had his first breakout game of the year. For me, it was the O-line. If I would have been on last week, I'd have been probably trashing the O-line after the performance in week 1. Week 2, great. Like if you didn't know, well, I know for myself, I was there and I was like, right, I'll have a look. How many sacks have we given up so far this year across both games? We've only given up 2. Now, admittedly, I would assume they were probably both against the Dolphins. We didn't give up any against the Steelers, but like that's pretty damn good, regardless. Just across the first 2 games. Now, I know sacks doesn't count for pressures, doesn't account for that, but still a good statistic regardless of what way you look at it. And the whole line were impressive. I think there was a clip doing the rounds of Cole Strange kind of just stopping Cam Hayward in his tracks as well, which was nice to see. As you know, I've been critical of the Cole Strange pick anyway. He's still he's going to take a lot more stopping of all pro defensive tackles to make that pick good, but good to see anyway that it's looks
Strange
like
had a very good day.
he had a very good game, and it's not exactly like Cam Hayward is a slouch or a scrub or anybody like that. He's a blood on his day. He could be just as lethal as TJ Watt could on his day and in his prime as well. Nick, what was your best moment that you've seen from this team? Because we talked about the O-line, we also talked about Nelly as well. What was your standpoint from this game?
I know a lot of what the two guys have just said was on my list. Last week I sat on the podcast and I trashed Trent Brown for being crap, which against the Dolphins he was. This week I can hold my hands up and say there was a much improved Trent Brown. You know, it wasn't a Pro Bowl level Trent Brown, but you know, hey, baby steps. He worked well. Like I said, my top note was, as Luke said and Henrik, how well Cole Strange was. His 1v1 battles with Cam Hayward, like you said, Hayward's no slouch. He really did impress me this week, Cole Strange. I thought he stepped up to the plate, and he was impressive. It was a low-scoring game. I think we all predicted it was going to be one of these low-scoring tactical bouts, one in the middle of the field. And ultimately, the Patriots forced the error, which in turn got us the points we needed to win the game. So I think we were very sound. We were very structured. We were very clever with how we played. I've just got some wide receiver stats that I'm looking at. Parker had only 2 targets all game, and he didn't make a catch. From 52 snaps, there was 2 targets, 0 catches, and 1 interception. That's that man who's supposed to be our number 1 receiver, by the way. Bourne was still our 5th receiver. He played less snaps than Humphrey. And, you know, the big catch Henrik said about Aguilar, but he was all over the field, Aguilar. He was turning up on both sides and crossing the middle. So I think Bill obviously had a plan. He always will do. And we obviously, as a team, we executed it, and that got the W. So I can't disagree with anything that the guys have said. I fully agree. I know Mac made the throw that wasn't the smartest throw in the world, but I did think Mac throughout the game, he showed some maturity, he showed some experience. You know, he's a second year QB, so. You know, you expect him, you don't expect him to be perfect, but you expect him to show knowledge of what's going on in the game. And I felt he did that. So all in all, you know, there you go. That's my take.
It was a better performance for me for Mac Jones because obviously the offensive line, they barely let up any sort of pressures. I think Cole Strange let 1 hurry on Mac Jones. But Jones finally had time to throw in the pocket, and he was literally peppering Jacoby Myers pretty much all game. We saw Nelson Aguilar 6 catches for 110 yards in the TD and a touchdown as well. One thing I was very disappointed with in this game, though, was the lack of the tight end usage. Neither Hunter Henry, who I'm wearing, by the way, no Jono Smith either. They got no catches between them. That's not good at all. I know Hunter Henry is more sort of like more of a red zone target, and I get that. But Jono Smith is probably a tight end that you need to scheme more than actually understand of the playbook. And that concerns me a little bit going into this season. If we can't get Jono Smith in the right positions, how are we supposed to utilize the 12-man personnel?
Yeah, and there was one stat there I was looking at as a few minutes ago, in fact, and between Parker, Henry, and Smith, we had 0 catches in the last game. Now, obviously, look, it's one game, it's a microcosm of one game of the season, but at the same time, right, 36 million versus 3 million that we're spending on pass catchers, wide receivers, and tight ends this year, 57% of our cap went on 0 catches in this game. You have a guy like Parker playing, who is a number 2 Z receiver, moonlighting as our number 1 receiver. He's going to get shut down by every top corner, every number 1 corner that he goes up against this year, I think. And I totally agree with your assessment then as well, Carl. Like, if your Jonnu Smith is between your between the 20s guy, he's your scheme him open, get him on a tight end screen, get him out, get the ball in his hands and make some yards after catch. And Henry's your red zone target. Henry, I think, will be fine. I think it was probably just not the game for him, possibly. I don't know, because I think he's been fairly consistent throughout. But Parker, we haven't seen a whole lot through the first 2 games, and Smith seems to be continuing the trend of last year, which was little to nothing.
So, Luke and Nick and Carl, what do you guys think about, in general, Matt Patricia's performance as a head coach and Joe Judge as a tight end? What do you think about, like, we're talking about in terms of tight end, Joe Judge?
Yeah, I think with Joe Judge, I think he's still questionable, to say the least. He was a former special teams coordinator. Not really a tight end coach, not really a head coach, to be honest with you. So that does worry me a little bit. As far as Matt Patricia is concerned, some of the play calling in that Steelers game was actually not half bad. Not great, not poor, but not half bad. It's like sort of like average. He made some decent dial-ups as well. Obviously, the 44-yard bomb to Nelson Aguilar, in which he Randy Mossed Witherspoon and then got into the end zone for a touchdown. That was a very, very nice call. And they carried on with the ground game as well. They didn't try and deviate away from the ground game, because I think that's the one thing we missed, okay? And that was the 2-headed monster at the running back. We got the 1-2 punch in Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. Harris, he registered 71 yards and a touchdown. Stevenson going for about 47 yards. They're both tough to tackle, and they bring explosiveness to the backfield. Look, we don't have Ty Montgomery for at least 4 weeks now, so New England might be looking for them both to catch raw passes out of the backfield. The 2 have looked good doing that this year, combining to catch 3 passes for 20 yards in the game against the Steelers. Having both Harris and Stevenson playing well is obviously good news for the offense, because it can cycle them in and out of the lineup and keep both fresh throughout the game. Unfortunately, if you're an NFL fantasy guy like I am, and you've got one of these guys, and that's going to obviously kill you. But I digress. This is the New England Patriots podcast.
Yeah, couldn't care less about fantasy football. Couldn't care less about that. But everything else, absolutely.
Anyway, all in all, look, the running attack was very effective in Pittsburgh. It could be one of the strongest units on the team if the line keeps blocking the way it is. And that's a little bit I've got there. If the line keeps blocking the way it did. I hope this is a first sign of things to come, and it's not a one-off, and we end up losing our our shape against the Baltimore Ravens this coming week.
Yeah, we'll get to that. What do you guys think about, Nick and Luke, about Matt Patricia in general? And if you have anything about Joe Judge, that's important to know.
Well, I was just having a look while Carl was speaking then. Our tight ends coach is officially Nick Cayley. I was literally just looking on the coaches.
Nick Cayley, yeah.
Now, Nick Cayley, Daniels wanted to take Nick Cayley to Vegas with him. And that was one of the coaches that apparently Bill said, no, he's staying here. So one of the coaches that McDaniels wanted to take with him was Nick Cayley, and apparently Bill rates Nick Cayley highly in that he will move up the coaching ladder at some point. But officially, Nick Cayley is our tight ends coach. So take that as you want. To be honest, I don't have a problem with Matt Patricia. I've said this throughout the summer. This is a guy who, he spent a year off the field with Ernie, learning plays, learning schemes. I don't have a problem with his play calling.
No.
He doesn't see he hasn't made like major errors. I noticed during the game when Mac made a mistake and Mac was sat down, he was talking to Joe Judge, and then Bill came to talk to Mac, and so Bill had his back to the field while the defense were on the field. So he obviously trusted what Mayo and the other and Steve were telling them, but Bill was talking to Mac and Joe, and they had a good chat. And Matt Patricia left them to it. He was doing his thing, and then he added his sixth penneth or whatever. And Matt said, "Yeah, I've got it," And Matt went out and did some good. So I realised that Matt Patricia was a defensive coordinator. He wasn't the greatest defensive coordinator, but he was a defensive coordinator. If we keep winning or we keep doing what we need to do, and Matt Patricia doesn't crap the bed, then let's roll forward.
Absolutely. I'll just say this just quickly. I really liked how starting out in the first quarter and the first half that the Patriots were in shotgun, Mac Jones, they were always ready to throw the ball. So that's something I in particular like with the offense, and I'll give credit to Matt Patricia for that.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think like if you're judging Patricia on the O-line so far, 50-50. First game bad, second game very good, kind of the sublime and ridiculous, I think, so far. But on average, good. I think the play calling, I think, to be honest, the play calling, the situational play calling is Belichick. He's saying outside run here, inside run here, short, medium, screen, and I think Patricia is choosing which of those plays gets run, in terms of, okay, we're going with a stretch play here. Are we going stretching right? Are we stretching left? We're going with a short pass here. Is it hitch curl? Is it double slants? That's the bit I think that he's calling, but I think the overarching, what are they doing by each play, or even maybe by series, I think Belichick is just kind of saying, okay, this is what we're going to do in this series, or this is what I want you to call for this play. Pick a play, pick one of our outside run plays, pick one of our inside run plays. And I think now, obviously, it's complete rubbish what I'm saying.
No. This is explained in a very great way, Luke. So I think those who are listening, we're learning a lot.
I think that happened because, just the last point to back it up is, I think that's happening because we're getting a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of delay games, but we've seen kind of the delay of games coming, or we're getting the play call in quite quickly, quite slowly. And I think that would lead itself to two lines of communication rather than Matt Patricia to Mac. It's possibly Belichick to Matt to Mac. It might not be. Like I said, it could be rubbish, but it's just a theory.
Great points. Very, very interesting.
I think a lot as well. Matt Patricia being obviously the offensive play coordinator, as Hemmings already said, he is a former defensive coordinator. So it kind of actually sort of works in your favor, because if you're the offensive coordinator, you look on the field, you can try and work out what the defense is actually doing. And then you could just plug in and play to the strengths of the offense. I think that's what Belichick has tried to do. Whether it works this season or not, we're going to see a little bit more further down the line, because we're only in week 2. But well done to New England. 17-14 against the Steelers. We move on to week 3. But before we get catching on with our match against Baltimore this coming week, we do have a little bit of breaking news for you. And that is, of course, earlier on this evening, I got notification from our very own Nick Cosgrove that the New England Patriots have traded offensive tackle Justin Herron to the Las Vegas Raiders. Not sure what the compensation is. I think it's a swap of picks in 2024. It's more sort of like very late day 3 picks, if I'm mistaken. My thoughts regarding of Justin Herron, I was not impressed with him at all. Over the last few years I've seen him play, I've not been impressed with Justin Herron. Too many false starts, too many penalties. His blocking is very average, to say the least. And I think as well, if you actually look at it in a different view, Marcus Cannon has now been signed back onto the practice squad.
Yeah.
So that just gives you an indication. Originally, I thought, that means Isaiah Wynn could be moving off. But no, it's Justin Herron that's going to get moved off now. For me, I don't think it's a huge loss. I think Herron was, I hate to say it on this podcast, but I think he was pretty useless. Nick, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I can't claim all the credit. I picked it up off DJ. So DJ dropped it on the wire, and I just I just spread it out. So, you know, I'm merely DJ's microphone, if you like. But no, I mean, yeah, Marcus Cannon, he was signed to the practice squad for a reason. You know, probably get a good assessment of him, see if he can still do the job. So I don't have a problem. He appeared with the Patriots. He never gave us a bad performance. He always put the effort in. So yeah, like you said, Carl, you know, you're trading here. You're effectively giving him away for free while saving face and say, actually, I'm not giving him away for free. But you know, it is, if you're not going to use him and he's not cutting the mustard, getting anything for him is a bonus, even if you end up swapping pick positions. So I did notice off the Patriots wire as well. Yesterday, we signed Scotty Washington to the practice squad as well. And we released Jalen Windermeyer.
Oh.
And that was just to a practice squad addition and a practice squad release. So that came yesterday. So that's my 2 pence.
Okay. Luke, what about you? What was your thoughts on Justin Herron getting traded?
I'm not a fan of this. It's purely emotional. For some reason you just pick up and you just like a player for no reason whatsoever. I loved Justin Herron. I don't know why. I just liked the guy. I thought,
get out.
I agree though with you in terms of I thought his rookie season was actually better than what he was showing in the preseason, and okay, he hadn't really played at all so far this year, but what he showed in the preseason was too many penalties, and I can understand it. At the end of the day as well, he was a 7th round pick, so the fact that he even made the roster his rookie season was, you know, a bonus, really, you know. And he did play and played okay. He played like a 7th round pick offensive lineman, you know, when he played. You can't expect much. That's pretty much an undrafted free agent playing offensive tackle for you. Very key position, and he played left tackle as well, and he played right tackle, so he had a bit of versatility. But look, I even DM'd him on Twitter today to say best of luck. He's just one of those guys you just like I don't know. I just like the guy. I won't embarrass myself any further.
Henrik, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, unlike Luke, I'm quite indifferent to losing Justin Herron. He's played 10 games, started 10 games. So he's been okay. Sometimes he's been productive, other time he hasn't. I think we're swapping a 2004 7-round pick for a 6th round pick. That's what I'm going to guess. So we're getting a 6th round pick instead of a 7th round pick. So
yeah, I was literally going to say Pro Football Talk report it as we are sending Herron and a 2024 7th rounder to the Raiders, and the Raiders are sending us their 2024 6th round.
Yeah, okay. Great.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's an upgrade. So it's an upgrade on a pick then. That's
Exactly.
good enough. That's decent enough, I think.
Yeah.
One last little bit of news to touch on. An expatriate player who played for us last year, who I described as slow and lost his pace, had a visit today. Jamie Collins, former linebacker. He's back on the scene. I don't know if New England have re-signed him to the practice squad. I haven't heard any news come through yet. There's a reason being why we got off Dante Hightower. There's a reason why we got off Jamie Collins. There's a reason why we got off Kyle Van Noy. All three of them were slow at the linebacker position. As anybody saw in our wildcard game, the linebackers just could not control the speed at the line of scrimmage. Just could not. Matt Wilson, since he's come on board with us, he's literally been the X factor for us at the linebacker position. This is why you have to get younger, you have to get faster on the defensive side of the ball because you will get killed otherwise. Could Jamie Collins come back maybe for a bit part role in the Patriots defense? It would be the worst case scenario, but I think right now, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Are we sure he's coming back, or is he just still leaving from last year? He's that slow. Is he still leaving the building from last year, and someone's just stopped him and said, "Don't go"?
I don't know. I don't know. I simply don't know.
I think as well. I think Joanne Bentley is struggling with something at the moment, and I think it's possibly just insurance as a thumper. Your run stuffing middle linebacker, and they're like, look, he knows the system. He can come in at a moment's notice, probably, and do a job for you. I don't think it's to do anything to play any amount of snaps on defense. I think it might just be for a game or two that they might need him if Bentley can't go. And I hope I loved Collins back in the day, but I'm in I'm with you in terms of him and Hightower and Van Noy. We've moved on now, and like I said, I did love him. I thought watching just absolute freak of an athlete when he was coming out. So yeah, it'll be nice to maybe see Collins on the back of a jersey again, Patriots jersey again. But yeah, I think
for 1 or 2 games.
For 1 or 2 games, yeah.
Luke's explanation,
only, I think.
Yeah, Luke's explanation is the correct one regarding Jamie Collins.
Yeah, just to see how he gets on, but we'll see what happens with Jamie Collins if he gets re-signed, or they just let him walk out the door and go find somewhere else, whichever way.
Yeah, I mean, last year he didn't really have a impact on the team, on the defense. So I mean, I don't understand what could he possibly bring this season. But I think in best case, maybe 1 or 2 games he has something. I mean, I don't have any expectations for Collins.
Yeah. The only thing he's got is experience, but
True.
Unfortunately, you need to time experience with speed as well. And unfortunately, probably Jamie Collins doesn't have that speed anymore. But good luck to Jamie. If he doesn't sign for us, hopefully he finds a team somewhere else. He will do. He is a talented linebacker. But we will see what happens. Okay, so move on to week 3 then. We are 1-1, and we take on the team that, oh boy, they are catching fire. They caught fire right at the start of the season, and then they burnt themselves out last week by losing 42-38 to the Dolphins when they had a humongous lead. I don't know what the percentage was for them to actually win the game, but it was around about 95%, something along those lines. But anyway, so we take on the Baltimore Ravens, a team which we have notoriously had issues with over the past. We have played Lamar Jackson twice, once in Baltimore where we got absolutely screwed by him, and then the second one with a little bit of help from the weather, managed to pull off the win in Foxborough. So this is you could say this is a decider between us and Lamar Jackson. I rate Lamar Jackson so highly. The guy still is waiting on to be paid from a contract, but he is playing lights out at this moment in time, and it's scary. And it isn't with his legs. it's with his arm. That's what makes it even more deadly. Henrik,
crazy.
Henrik, what is which players are you keeping a close eye on the Ravens in this game? Who's gonna cause us problems, excluding the quarterback, obviously?
I mean, I totally agree. I feel the same way you do about Lamar Jackson. I think he is just at his best. He seems unstoppable, and like with a lot of these athletic quarterbacks who can defeat you on the ground by running, he's probably the best in the league. And with those type of quarterbacks, Tom Brady, he can make any throw anyway, and he was good at moving around. Point is, Tom Brady and quarterbacks like him, they can score a touchdown on any play they make. But with Lamar, player like a mobile quarterback, athletic like Lamar Jackson, and I could also add in Patrick Mahomes, they can score, make a huge play on the ground anytime, any moment. So just wanted to say that, and of course he's a great passer. That there's no question about that. He made some good throws last week, but his best friend, his favorite, maybe his favorite target, Mark Andrews, the tight end. I would watch out for him. A great quarterback's got to have a good tight end to throw the ball to. A tight end is a quarterback's best friend. So the thing is, we're gonna have to worry a lot about Lamar Jackson no matter what. But in terms of the passing play, keep an eye out for Ravens tight end Mark. He's good. He's got good hands, and keep an eye out for Mark Andrews.
Luke, what about you?
So far this year, I think it's kind of Rashad Bateman for them. He's 28 yards per catch, leading the league. He is a bit of a boom or bust guy. I think he's 6 for 12 so far in his targets. But he's been there to stretch the field. I think we handled Tyreek Hill relatively well. Can you ever really handle Tyreek Hill? You probably can't.
Well, ask Baltimore what happened last week.
Yeah, exactly.
You've never heard of a too high cover shell safety before?
Probably not by the looks of it. They haven't anyway. But I think Bateman is an interesting proposition for us to face. Also, Duvernay as well has been pretty good. They're not missing Hollywood Brown so far. I don't think. No, that's from the outside looking in. They're the two kind of danger men, and hopefully I'm not stealing another point off Nick now. But J.K. Dobbins, I think, might be due to return. But I'll leave it.
I've got enough.
You got enough. Good. I'm always really conscious of just like talking.
J.K. Dobbins is questionable at this moment in time. Whether he plays this week or not, I hope not. But whether I hope he plays or not is another matter. Nick, which Ravens player or players are you a little bit concerned about going in? We talked about Rashad Bateman. We've also talked about Lamar Jackson. We talked about Andrews. Who is concerning you? Is there anybody concerning you on the defensive side of the ball? Because everyone has said offense for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, while just touching on what other people have said, to think we could have had Lamar Jackson on our roster, but we decided that Isaiah Wynn was a better pick. So, we could have had Jackson, and he could have sat behind Brady for a year or two. But hey, that's an if but maybe. I had on my list, I had Mark Andrews. He is Jackson's key offensive weapon. I think our safety group is diverse enough that we should be able to match up with him anywhere across the formation that Baltimore choose to line up in. I think a key to this game will be speed and power. If we can find the correct combination of linebackers and safeties on the field at the right time, we should have speed on the back end that could prove pivotal. Our protection up front needs to be Steelers level, not Dolphins level. If we can protect Mac and that allows him to play with confidence, he should be able to get the job done that he needs to do. Again, referring back to the Steelers game, let's force Baltimore into making mistakes. We made the Steelers make a big mistake. Let's make sure that we are making the opposition make game-changing mistakes rather than us make them. And I think the key will be which team makes the most big plays. If you can contain Duvernay and Bateman like we've talked about, and we don't get beat over the top, then you look at everything else. Maybe we've got a chance. Talking on defense, the Ravens secondary is a bit beat up. They are suffering from injuries, so hopefully we can take advantage of that. If we can spread the field, avoid their interior, we could line up well. And I think, as the saying goes, you pass to score, you run to win.
That is very true. Yeah, you talked a lot. You touched base on Devon Duvernay. Obviously, he had that kickoff return for 103 yards for a touchdown right at the start of the Miami game. So the special teams are going to be an issue to deal with, especially with Duvernay receiving the ball. Yeah, but I look at the secondary of the Ravens. It is badly beaten up. I think you can exploit that. But I want to see the likes of Devontae Parker actually go up and try and beat out Marcus Peters to some of the catches at some point in this game. But yeah, the offense does worry me hugely. My take on this one is New England. They're in their front seven have to contain Jackson, and I know Jackson has been playing very, very well with his arm and that, but he's going up against. For some reason, he put up so many scoring points on a Dolphins defense. Yet we could only manage to put 20. We could only manage to put 7 on them. So is that as the case of our offense was worse than the Dolphins, or did the Dolphins just have a better defense on the day compared to what they had against the Ravens this past week? I don't know.
I think when you think back to the fact that, I mean, all right, we gave up some points on offense, but against the Dolphins, our defense only gave up 13 points. I think I said this in this. I said this in the podcast last week. If you're offering me the chance for our defense to give up 13 points every week, I'm going to take that. Again, 14. We gave up 14 against the Steelers. So if you're going to give up small allowances like that, then you can't ask your defense to do any more. You've got to ask your offense to win the game. So the defense need to keep doing what they're doing. It's by far and away the Patriots' strongest area, our defense. We've got the best. Not only have we got the best coach that's ever played the game, but we've got the best defensive coach that's ever played the game. So our defense is always expected to be one of, if not our best attribute. So the defense need to keep doing what they've been doing, keep making sure that they make the plays that we need to do, and you've got to expect the offense to win the game. Hence why I said pass to score, run to win. It's going to come down to offense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to come down to the offense. Max Jones got to step up, and I just totally agree. 13 points against the Dolphins and 14 points last game, although Mitch Trubisky and the Steelers offense were not very good. So if we can keep the Ravens down to 21 points, I would say that's probably a good game for the Patriots defense. And even though the Ravens totally embarrassed himself on Sunday against the Dolphins. It was very embarrassing by the Ravens, and it was a good comeback for Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa. But still, it must have been heartbreaking for the Ravens, and I am worried that they will come back with revengeful fury against the Patriots.
There is one slight difference. So what I see with the Ravens coming here after getting bruised badly by the Dolphins, they have to come to Foxborough. It's our first game at home this season, so I bet your bottom dollar the crowd are going to be absolutely up for this. They're going to be very loud when the Ravens are on the offense, or it's going to be on the field. If there isn't, I'll be raising an eyebrow or two about that. But we're at home, we're in the confines of our own stadium now. Let's see that, let's see what we can do. This
home field advantage.
This offense does have to prove.
Yeah, and Mac Jones, it's going to come down to the offense, I think.
Yep.
It will do. It will do indeed. Okay, so one last bit to touch on before we go into our picks. And obviously, Nick has got our score results from last week. Patriots game plan for this game against the Ravens. For me personally, Mac Jones's decision-making has to be better this time round. I know that he's not playing up against a defense like the Dolphins or the Steelers this time, because the Ravens have been they were pretty poor last week. And I don't think that secondary scares me at all. But Mac Jones's decision-making has been a major, major issue the last 2 weeks. We didn't see that in his rookie season. So why are we seeing it now in his sophomore year? Is it because of Matt Patricia, or is it because he has slightly regressed? I don't know. But Mac Jones has to do much, much better this time round. I don't want to see him skitting around in the pocket. Make a read, no good. Make a second read, no good. Make a third read, then go for your throws. He has to go through his progressions. He has to go through them properly. What he's trying to do is actually rush through all his progressions. That's where you start making mistakes. He has to try and make sure 1 read, 2 read, bang, get the ball out quickly.
I think that goes back to what I was saying, that if the offensive line can hold up and they can protect him and give him the time he needs, then I think you will see him play with a bit more confidence, play a bit more slower, and think about a bit more. I think he's rushing because he's got what he's experienced over the first 2 weeks, and obviously preseason as well. That's what's in his head. So I think he's operating on, not on automatic pilot, but he's operating on what he's seen in front of him over the past few weeks. If the offense can hold the line, and give him the time to make his reads properly, then you'll see a better Mac Jones, I think.
Right. Totally agree.
I think so.
Absolutely. So that's my take on this for Mac Jones. Nick, what about you? What is going to be what is one of the main key points for us to try and win this game this weekend?
I refer to my previous point. I think our defense needs to stand strong. I think we need to keep playing well on the defensive side of the ball, but we've got to see some improvement on the offense. 17 points won't win you this game. You need to score more points. We left points. You could argue that the call didn't come against Parker in Miami, and that might have changed the start of that game. But ultimately, our offense needs to score more, and we've got to ask the defense to keep playing to the level they have.
Luke, what about you?
I think I agree with you, Nick. To be honest, one of the keys for me is we need to stop it from becoming a basketball game. In terms of they go up the field, they score, we go down the field and score. We won't be able to keep up. We won't be able to keep up with them. So if we can get a performance out of the defense similar to what we've been getting the last few weeks, great. I think when our offense are on the field, we need to make sure that we're running the ball and we're taking time off the clock, because we need to be able to give our defense a break, because when he's not going to be going 3 and out. I'd be very surprised. I think I would be surprised if we see their punter too much in this game. I'm very kind of bullish, I suppose, on Lamar. Now, I also think that our defense is good enough to stop them. I think at the start of the year, I'd have been very kind of cautious on the defense. I didn't think it was going to be up to it really, but from what I've seen the first games, they've really impressed me, to be fair. So yeah, keep Lamar off the field as much as possible by slowing the game down. Yeah. And making him work and sitting over the top, make Andrews maybe hurt you, rather than giving up quick scores to Duvernay and Bateman.
Henrik, what about you?
It's very wise words by Luke and Nick. If the Patriots are going to win, defense is going to have to contain Mr. Jackson at quarterback for the Ravens. He is going to, if it's going to be like you said, Luke, a basketball game, a back and forth. Patriots are not going to win unless Mac Jones shows who he truly is, like a future Hall of Fame quarterback or something like that. But we're not going to beat them in a shootout, unfortunately. And you could just expect Lamar Jackson to make great throws that turns into big gains and big plays. On big plays, he is going to run. He's going to have a long run at some point. He's going to have a 30-yard touchdown or a 70-yard run or something like that. That's going to happen. But can the Patriots defense limit that? That's going to make the difference in if the Patriots have a chance to compete or perhaps even win the game. So the whole defense, it's going to be a tough game, but like I said, 21 points. If they can hold the Ravens to 21 points, I mean, that's a good job by the defense. And then it's all up to the offense. Can the Patriots offense with Mac Jones take advantage, take the opportunities they get? Let's say the Ravens only score 21. Are the Patriots good enough to score 24 points, 28 points? We'll see. I hope so. But Mac Jones, hopefully he can show that he has that competitive edge and that he can just keep up, throw a lot of touchdowns, get a lot of first downs, important third downs. That's what I'm looking to see. That's what I hope to see as a Patriots fan on Sunday.
Okay, we've had some really good points on this. Let's just hope for a good result. Before we get into our picks, a little bit of news to talk about as well. Jacoby Myers and Carl Duggar, they haven't been practicing in Wednesday's practice. It is only Wednesday, so let's just see how that pans out for the rest of the week. And Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson was listed as a limited participant in practice today due to a light elbow injury, but head coach John Harbaugh has said his quarterback will play Sunday at New England. Well, we don't expect anything different. Okay, let's go around the horn. Nick, score prediction. Ravens at Patriots, go.
24-17.
Patriots or Ravens?
I don't know. I don't know.
24. You can't do that.
24.
Get off that fence.
24-17 is what I'm going, and I will say one thing based on our picks from last week. Henrik was the only one that went New England against the Steelers. He was the only one that had faith in the Patriots. So I'm going to take some of Henrik's book. I'm going to take a page out of his book. I'm going to say 24. I'm going to say 24-17 to the Patriots.
I like it.
Good choice, sir. Good choice. Okay, yeah. Pessimistic Luke.
I hate that I'm pessimistic, but like
You started it.
I
You
did.
brought on the
No,
very
no,
first episode. So
I did. To be fair, I look and I have to play up to my caricature of myself now. 28-21 Ravens. I do think that we see a bit more from the offense. It's not almost not a Patriots thing. It's a Lamar thing. I just think Lamar's great, and I think the offense is their offense is humming. Obviously, their defense can't stop anything. I just want to get this stat in before we finish, because I saw it and I was like, I have to double check it. They've conceded. Now, obviously, we know how bad they've been, but they've conceded 150 yards more than the 31st worst defense this season across 2 games already. 150 yards more than the second worst team. So there's yards to be got. But yeah, I just love Lamar. I just think he could tear us apart, and it's not almost like not a knock on the Patriots. I think we'll put in give a good account of ourselves.
Yeah,
that's
so you've gone for a Ravens win, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
28-21.
That one. 28-21. Okay. Henrik, are you going to be the one to be optimistic, or are you going to fall back on your own sword this time?
Well, I felt Nick was pretty optimistic for Patriots fans. So no, it's Luke, you're right. Lamar Jackson, he's a very dangerous man, and both him and all the other Ravens players, they are very motivated to win after losing so badly against the Dolphins, which they totally did. And they have Jim Harbaugh. He is a good NFL head coach. So, it's, I mean, if I was neutral, if I was just advising people to pay their money, I find it hard to go against the Ravens. However, you mentioned we know the game is at Foxborough Stadium. I have a hope for the Patriots going 2-2. So do I think the Patriots have a better chance to beat the Ravens than to beat the Packers? I'm not sure they do. So every week so far, I've picked the Patriots, and I'm going to stand by it this week. So Patriots, 21-23, Patriots victory.
Okay, so now it falls on me. This is not easy for me, because on one hand, I think New England can neutralize Lamar Jackson in a way, but there is one player that every single one of us on this panel have forgotten about. Probably the greatest kicker in the NFL. In Justin Tucker.
About him.
Nick Folk.
He's not going to be a focus at all. He's going to be a non-factor this game.
He's only have to kick extra points.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. 21-23 Patriots. Come on.
It's at home. Back at home, back in front of our own crowd. We should be able to get something going here. I'm going to say New England win 24-20.
That's the
New
spirit.
England win 24-20.
Yeah. I mean,
So 3 out of 4 have gone for a New England win. Luke is being pessimistic as always, has gone for a Ravens win. So I hope you're keeping scores of this, Nick, because
it's all right. I've got it.
It's all right. I keep like, if it's anything to go by my NFL picks last week, I'll be wrong and we'll get a Patriots win. So if we go by the opposite of what I pick every week, we'll be fine. Just bet against me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Nick, let's move on to the rest of our picks. But before we do that, touch base with us on what happened in last week. Who got the winning?
Not me.
Who got the winning record?
Nick.
You did.
I did. I scored a whopping, out of 30, 8 points. beat Luke's record of 7 by 1.
He keeps the book.
You take 8 points there. So who was the worst score? Do I dare not? Do I dare not say?
It wasn't you. It wasn't you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Who was it then?
I knew it was me.
It was Luke. Luke only got 2. I haven't noticed. Just looking now, right? I hadn't noticed this when I put all the results in on Monday. I didn't notice this. In the Cardinals Raiders game, none of us scored a single point.
Yeah.
Nobody across the entire
good.
group. None of us scored a point.
We all chose the Raiders, didn't we?
Yeah,
we all chose the Raiders, and Arizona won. Obviously, the yardage, the offensive yardage was massive, and yeah, so that game was like a complete washout for everybody. I top scored with 8. Henrik was closest behind on 5. DJ 1 behind him on 4. Carl on 3. Luke on 2. I think the reason why I managed to score more than anybody else is I picked up a couple of points. It's not because I keep the book. I'm quite happy to provide everyone with access to the book. Everyone was picking unders for the total penalty yardage. I mean, literally everyone was under. I took a chance on the Tampa Bay New Orleans game being an over, so I have to thank Mike Evans for that. You know,
you should have really got an extra 5 points to that because there was also two ejections in that game as well.
So I had the over on that one. Everyone else had under, so I scored a point in that game more than anybody, and I also had the over in the Panthers and the Giants game, which nobody else had. That was another low-scoring game for everybody. So I think I took advantage of just selecting an over in a couple of games where nobody else was, and I came up trumps. So I think that's where I just slightly jumped ahead. But other than that, it was fairly standard picking up. You know, everyone was picking up a point or so every game, except Luke.
DJ, it looks like DJ is not happy with your secretary skills. I think because you put one word: rigged. Anyhow, okay. What are our 5 games that we are picking for this week? Then who have we got?
So
have we got some corkers, or have we got some absolute shocking games to pick this time round?
In addition,
there are quite a few this week.
In addition to the Ravens and Patriots game, we have the Bills versus the Dolphins, the Lions at the Vikings.
That'd be good.
The Packers at the Buccaneers.
The
49ers at the Broncos. And the Cowboys at the Giants. Now, I will say one thing.
Really?
Yeah, hang on.
You chose that heap of in this week. Really?
I did, because I nearly put the Pittsburgh game in instead, but on the basis that I am a father of 2 girls, I am not willing to even entertain that shit bucket of a franchise. So as far as I'm concerned, that burning shite of poo can stay out of our predictions league until it's the Patriots game. So
and with that, I agree with that.
I can't bring myself to put that in because I won't think logically on that. So that's the only reason the Cowboys game made it into the pack. Your bonus questions. Over under of 5 touchdowns in the game total, and over under of 5 field goals in the game total.
Okay, that sounds quite straightforward, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
In theory, anyway.
if it's going to be a barnstormer, you're going to go over and over. If it's going to be a really poor game, you're going to go under and under. I don't know. That's for everyone to decide. But
Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right.
So while we're on, I'm just filling in the sheet. Over and under 5 touchdowns in the Ravens Patriots game.
Under.
I think over.
Sorry. Over. Sorry. Over.
Over?
Yeah.
Over
fine.
for me as well. I need to copy other people so I can win.
Yeah. Well, you just gotta remember the score you predicted and see how many touchdowns there is.
I have 4 at least for the Ravens anyway. So
yeah, definitely 28-21. That's.
I'm gonna go under.
ooh.
Field goals, over under 5 total.
Under.
Under.
I think both teams. I think it's just both teams will have to get touchdowns in this game. I think. Well, sorry, not both teams. We'll have to get touchdowns in this game to keep up.
But you predicted 21-28, so yeah, it'll be 7
no
touchdowns.
field goals.
No field goals.
That
Yeah, definitely
means
5.
Justin Tucker's having a bad game.
Yeah. Nick Folk and Justin Tucker, put them in your fantasy teams.
Non-factor. Hopefully. Oh well, it doesn't
Come on,
matter.
Carl. Finish the sheet.
Carl's checking
Under.
the betting overs and unders.
Under?
Yeah. I know my phone's right here, but that's not. No.
Okay,
Right.
So game 2, Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Score predictions.
All right. Who was let's go. Carl, you'll be number 1, and Nick, you'll be number 4, and I'll be number 3.
Bills are absolutely relentless right now. There's no chance of stopping them. The Dolphins, I think they're going to run straight into a buzzsaw. I am going to say the Bills win 38-21.
Luke,
34-17 Bills. Similar points difference, I think. Yeah, just a case of I think Bills win it handy.
Nick, Buffalo Bills are going to win. No question, no doubt about that. It'll be a high-scoring game, a bit closer than you guys are predicting. I'm going to say 31-41 Buffalo Bills.
Can't argue with that.
I'm also going Buffalo. I'm going Buffalo 38. But I've got a bit more faith in Miami. I'm going 34-28. It's 34-28, sorry.
Okay, 6-point swing. That's not too bad.
Next game.
Over-unders. Touchdowns.
Over for me. Over.
Over 5 touchdowns.
Over. Definitely over.
Field goals, over-under 5.
Under.
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 All right.
Game 3. The Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings.
Carl?
It's at Minnesota, isn't it?
Yes.
Is at Minnesota, yeah.
It's going to be hard.
This is a difficult game to choose. I'm going to say 28, 24,
That's exactly.
Lions.
Wow.
That's exactly what I was going for. The exact same score.
Oh, come on.
I'll change it. I'll change it though.
You don't have to. You don't
No,
have to.
no,
It's your
I'll
personal. It's your personal choice. It doesn't bother me.
No.
I just think the Lions they're playing really well, and I think that after what and Minnesota are also coming off a short week.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's going to be 31-24 Lions.
I've gone Lions 24-21. They won me points last week against Washington. I'll keep the faith. I'll go Detroit again. So I'm going 24-21.
I disagree with you guys. The Lions will lose this game. It'll be 17-28 Minnesota Vikings victory. And there will be more than 5 touchdowns. There will be less than 5 field goals as well.
Over-unders, Luke?
Over on the touchdowns. Should we put is it? Are we going to say like 4.5 touchdowns, or is it 5? Because if it is exactly 5, it'll be a push.
Well, yeah, I've put 5 based on the stats that I picked out. So, if it's bang on 5, I'll probably just give the points out.
Yeah.
Just on the basis that the way I made the way that I got the stats off the stat sheet, I left it at 5. So because it was a whole number that came on the stat sheet as an average.
I'm gonna kind of go against myself. I'm gonna say over on both to hedge my bets, which means they'll both be under.
Oh, interesting. Right. Okay, so I'm going to go over on the touchdowns massively and under on the field goal.
All right.
Okay. Game 4, Green Bay Packers at Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Let's go, Carl. Who do you got?
Bucs don't look impressive on offense, but defensively they're suffocating everyone. The Packers, poor show in week 1, and then they go and take care of business against the Bears, but Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears anyway, so it's really hard to put a gauge on what the Packers are doing right now. Oh, I think this is going to be a slugfest. I'm going to say the Bucs win this 21-18.
It's a good call. Luke, you're next.
Yep, 17-16 Bucs.
Ooh.
Okay, low scoring game. I like it. I'll go. I like both of your picks, by the way. I'll go 27-24 to Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. And
Mike Evans.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
His suspension's been upheld.
And Godwin is out as well, isn't he?
Yeah. So that means they're relying on Julio Jones, they're relying on Tyler Johnson, Brashard Perryman.
Not there anymore.
Oh, beg your pardon, sorry. Brashard Perryman. And I think they've just signed Cole Beasley.
Yes.
Yeah, he's on their practice squad.
He'll get signed to the active roster. He's going to end up being his Julian Edelman, isn't he? Guaranteed.
Over-unders in this game, peoples.
I'll have 5 touchdowns and 5 field goals at least.
I'm going under on the touchdowns, over on the field goals.
So can I just clarify once more? So if I think there's going to be at least 5 touchdowns, does that means over or under?
Yeah,
5?
just give me the over based on, because it's an average of a stat. It's an average of a stat through the last 2 games. So it's just come out as a whole number. So if you say over 5 and it is bang on 5, I will give it on the over.
All right, over 5 touchdowns and over 5 field goals for me.
I'm going to go under on the touchdowns and under on the field goals as well.
Under on both, sorry.
Yep.
Makes sense. Yeah, mine doesn't from what I predicted is the score, but I think I should get one of them hopefully.
Yeah.
Game 5, the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy's back
Yeah.
at the Denver. But I feel so sorry for Trey Lance. I really do.
Me too.
That's harsh.
Condolences.
He was in the stars, wasn't it? As soon as
Yeah,
they signed him, it's like he's been.
It's the way they were saying. They were playing on the fact that they wanted somebody to get a QB injury so they could get some. And of all the things to happen, and it's then
It's going to happen.
I feel so sorry for Lance. That's
Yeah.
just. I'm going to go the 49ers.
Who are they playing again?
Denver.
The Denver Broncos.
Denver.
Who
They're
can't,
playing.
who can't manage a clock to save their lives.
He can't coordinate to save his life. The guy's
True.
freaking useless.
I'm gonna go 28-17.
49ers. All right.
I'll go.
All
Oh, sorry.
No, Luke, by all means.
I'll go 24-14 49ers. I don't rate Hackett. I don't rate Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm on the same ballpark as Luke, but I've got less. 24-10.
Yeah.
That 49ers defense is going to make Russell Wilson's life a living hell.
Yeah. I don't like the Broncos. And I don't particularly like Russell Wilson, although I have nothing against him. But so I think I have to go with the 49ers as well here. Unanimous, I believe, between the four of us. Score prediction would be I'll also go 27-17 to the 49ers. Yeah. In this game, yeah, I have to say more than 5 touchdowns. I think in all games there will be at least 5 touchdowns. Field goals, less than 5 field goals here.
I'm going to go the opposite to Henrik. I think it'll be field goal over in the field goals, under in the touchdowns, but I'm probably wrong. But it's just an instinct, a gut instinct.
Yeah, we have to go with our instincts in score predictions and statistical.
I'm not
predictions as
overthinking anything. I do that and I still lose, so it doesn't matter.
Come on, Carl.
All right, I've counted out the touchdowns and I think I could get 5 in my prediction. But I'm going to say it's going to be under on the touchdowns, but I think it's going to be over on the field goals.
Okie doke. 3 out of 4 of us have gone. 3 out of 4 of us have gone for the Broncos, only scoring 17 points. Okay. Game 6. I apologise. It is in, but I'm not going to apologise. Screw Cleveland. Dallas Cowboys at New York Giants.
Oh God.
I've got the G-men. I haven't got a big score though. I've got 21-17.
I think that's pretty big for both the Giants and Cowboys. But yeah, I like how you think. I'll just go. I think the G-men, crying out loud. Who would have thought 2-0? Now they're going to be 3-0.
They are the worst 2-0 team in the NFL. Sorry,
exactly, yeah.
They're still 2-0 though.
Yeah, but you're both right.
You can polish a turd all you want. It's not going to make it any better.
I was going to say, I haven't been impressed at all by the Giants at all in their victories, but they did get their victories, and I think they're going to beat the Cowboys. I'll go 17-13 in this game. And obviously, there won't be 5 touchdowns in this game. And I do believe there'll be more than 5 field goals. So over on the field goals, under with the touchdowns. Victory to the Giants.
Yeah, I'll go 20-13 to the Giants, and I'll go over on field goals, under on the touchdowns.
I'm going to say 22-19. Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'm going to...
Sorry. Nick, I'm going to have to change something.
Hang on. Sorry. Go on, Carl. Finish that.
22-19. 22-19 to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go under on the touchdowns, but over on the field goals.
Yeah, Nick.
Okay.
I'm
what do you want to change?
In Giants Cowboys, under 5 touchdown and under 5 field goals.
Okay. That's cool. All right. Okay. There we go. Week 3 is in. So yeah, there you go.
And obviously, the most important game, the most important victory is the one that the Patriots are going to get. No matter what you say, Luke, the Patriots will be 2-1.
I want to be wrong. Totally,
Absolutely.
Totally. I love nothing more than the Patriots win.
So thank you for that, Nick. Those all our I call them pick 6 picks for week number 3. Gentlemen, you've been absolutely outstanding. Thank you very much for another amazing show. Let's hope we can get the result that we need this coming Sunday against Baltimore. Thank you to everyone that has joined us on YouTube, and also you've been listening to us on Spotify. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook and our podcast on Spotify. Also follow us on the channel as well on YouTube. You can also follow me at KB Sports 31 down in as well. And also you've got these 3 with their profiles: Nick Cosgrove UK, Luke O'Brien NFL, and Henrik at FG. So hopefully,
before we go, what did you think of Kyler Murray's 2-point attempt? He ran like 80 yards on that play.
I'll tell you how he ran like. He ran like a toddler who just stole his mother's mobile phone and refuses to give it back.
Yes. But the fact that he ran 80 yards on a 2-point attempt, I think that's like the first time in NFL history that's happened.
He literally done the whole entire loop of bloody Scottsdale, Arizona, and then decided to go in for the touchdown, for the 2-pointer. I mean, Jesus Christ. But
unbelievable.
He's a freak, to be fair to him. But yeah, I don't know if I want to. I
have to say, I had ruled him out. I had written a tweet that Kyler Murray doesn't have what it takes. It was like 10:30. It was pretty early in the game, but I did not press tweet. But can you imagine if I had? When I woke up, Raiders lost, and I was like, how? The highlights, the game, Murray, it's unbelievable play. I agree.
We will talk about 3 blown leads that happened last week, but we really have ran out of time. So we may have to touch base at some point in the season. A little recap while we're on our bye week, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Henrik, Luke, Nick, thank you for joining. You've been absolutely amazing always. Please make sure you follow us on Spotify. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Patriots Touchback Podcast. We'll be back hopefully next Tuesday at the right proper date, at the right proper time, for a review of the Baltimore Ravens game. Let's hope that we can come away with the victory that we so desperately need. I really hope we can go 2-1, because our stretch is not going to get any more easier. Thank you all for watching. Baby. Thank you for watching. Go Patriots.
Go Patriots.